Good morning, guys. So I'm kind of early. I'm 3 minutes early. I'm 3 minutes early. Well, I'm going to. So, so what I'm going to talk about today is the most efficient way to operate your computer and what keyboard you need, what mouse you need, or any other kind of input device. I'm talking about basically. I'm going to give you a tour of my way of operating the computer. So what do you mean by operating the computer? Now, especially on Linux, you have so many desktop uh, uh, window management systems, window managers, so-called window managers, and the Linux fanatics. They are very fanatical about their window managers. You have virtual spaces, you have tiling window systems. There's several of them. There's common list based one. I forgot the name, but there's a one before that. It's called Rat Poison. Now that guy is a common list programmer, and also he's a Emacs user. I've chatted to him a few times since like 10 years ago, and he's also on Twitter. But anyway, so on on Linux, you have many um, tiling windows tiling window managers. And the point about all that is efficiency, especially Linux fans are love to talk about it. Efficiency meaning in general they don't like to use the mouse, and you press a key, the window is get arranged in a certain way and so on. On the Mac, you pretty much don't have any choice. You just because Apple don't want you ditto with their UI. They think their UI is the best, but anyway, still you have many options. The way you operate the computer. I'm talking about the most efficient way. Okay, I'm talking about the most efficient way. That means if you have one way and another, it's like in a competition. You want to find which way is the most efficient. Now we're gonna define, we're gonna give some rough definition about how do you measure efficiency, and basically, that's you measure a number of keystrokes to do certain things, and there are other aspects. We may get into that. On Windows, usually you just use the Windows system, but again, there's so many different ways of shortcuts and keyboard, and you can buy, for example, okay, one of the things that illustrate why the whole efficiency issue is gaming, especially like massive multiplayer online gaming. They have so many, like when you play. I actually never played those massive multiplayer player online gaming. But basically you have in a game you have so many keys. Like this key changes weapon, that keys building or something. That key switch your guards or whatever. You have so many shortcuts. So the gaming industry, I mean the gamers, those gamers, MMO gamers, they have. You can buy a mouse that has like 20 buttons. Let me show you. So actually, I have one of that mouse. It's somewhere down there. Maybe I'll show it. But anyway, so there's one people watching. If you have a question, just type it here. So if you have a question, type it here. And I'll answer it. So your question, your comments kind of guide me where I'm going to go. But mostly today, I'm going to be focused on what the most efficient way to operate. Yeah, I'm going to give you a tour of how I operate my system, and also, but basically, the fun part will be on keyboards. Like, how do you avoid? It's also related to avoiding repetitive strain injury. I have, hand pain, so I recommend what are the most important things you can do to avoid that. Um, uh, and 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 related stuff. You know, I'm not prepared. I try to. So this is a free talk. So I'm just, let's see where it is heading. So let me start to tell you. Keyboard system. Yeah, so I have an article that became hugely popular. It has been on Reddit a couple of times, and it has been on Hacker News a couple of times. So let's go search it. Wait, not here. Let's do it. Brave. Brave browser. Brave browser is a great browser. It's created by the same guy who created JavaScript, Brendan Ike or something. Brenda Ike. And anyway, so let's search for Xali uh, tiling windows. There it is. Why tiling window manager sucks. Now this is hugely popular. It's I used to have comments on my blog on my website. Like if you go all the way down, then I used to have used the discuss comments, and on this article there are like over 100, over 100 of comments. But eventually I had to remove discuss because discuss started to charge you. I mean, they started to force ads, ugly ads like how to lose fat quickly, and usually a bunch of image ads, and usually with skimpy clad women, and how to lose weight or how to it's bad lurid ads, so I have to remove that, or I have to pay like $10 a month, something like that. So, but after removing the ads, I think so. I mean, removing the discuss, so I don't have comments on my site anymore. But you can see there's a whole lot of discussion, and you can see Reddit. Okay, this thread. Now, it's been on Reddit a few times. So on this thread, someone mentioned actually this is a good tip. So anyway, so let's go back to the hi guys, uh, Xmonad. Yeah, okay. So let me. I'm going to try to be more focused today. So I'm just going to talk about my system, the way I operate computers and keyboard recommendations and stuff. But again, just keep the comments. Ask me questions so I know where to what to talk. So anyway, why tiling window manager sucks? Okay, so let's see. You know, window manager actually sucks. Tiling Windows manager, it's not efficient, and it's well, basically, let me just tell you why. Okay, so tiling Windows manager, the concept is that when you have multiple windows, like right now, you look at my desktop, I have several windows, and you can see they have gaps, like this space and this space is like you know gaps. So to a nerd, it seems inefficient. What wouldn't be great if every window is tiled, like side by side, like this one. But actually, that's no good because if you basically when you have a tiny windows like that, if your windows are laid out like that, basically that's a table. That's a table format. And what happens is that your windows is are forced into particular shapes and positions. Then you get funky things like look at this scratched clock, and look at this wrapping of the text, and look at this the whole white. So basically the white space between windows, they move into your windows basically. But however, tiling windows is still useful, but not because windows are tiled. No, that's not because of that, but because tiling windows, they usually have a elaborate keyboard shortcut system, and they create this keyboard shortcut system so that it allows you to easily create more keyboard shortcuts to tile your windows or float them, um, or switch to another virtual space. So it's actually the keyboard shortcut system that allows you to create new keyboards, and with the commands to position your windows. That is actually the reason most people are crazy about tiling windows, but it's not because the windows are tiled itself. So that's my opinion. And but even with that, okay, even if you survey, if you just, for example, if I'm God, I can look at, suppose I already know, I know that all the users of Linux tiling Windows users, what their key bindings are, what they do. So I can immediately do a statistical analysis, which key are used the most often, which command are used the most often. Um, and so if we have that information, then I can tell you it's no good, because what do you mean it's no good? Because when you want to do um it, because it's the keyboard shortcut is not efficient. You look at the key logs of all these people, and basically they have lots of keys that are not efficient keys. For example, let me give you an example. Right now I have a window. I want to full screen it, because this window here is too small for you to see. So I press one button, one single button. It's full screen. I press it again, it's back. But if you look at those, go ask your co-workers or roommate or whatever who are using tiling windows. You ask them, what's your key for full screen? Chances are it's not one single key. Actually, yeah, that's not true, because on Windows by default the F11 is full screen, but it's not on the Mac. But let me give you another example. For example, I want to switch to my last window. So what I do, I press one key. One key. You see, I'm back to Emacs. One key back to the tiling windows. Now this, again, remember it's one single key. There's no control. There's no alt control, whatever meta. One single key. So that's my point. So instead of so so let me summarize. Tiling windows, the fact that windows are tiled is no good. Basically, you don't want that unless all your windows are text terminals. But that's not usually a case, because when you want to browse web pages, and in web pages, you have pictures, also programming language documentations or image, illustration of tree relations or whatever, or math things. So so your windows, unless all your windows are text terminals, which is not usually the case, so basically the concept of tiling is not that useful. Now the keyboard shortcuts of all those tiling window users are inefficient. So that's basically the 2 points I want to say about the tiling windows. Now, so what is the better system? Okay, I on this page I give you some tips about the best system. There are a few things you want to do. Um, let's see the comments. Let me check if I'm going in the right direction. What people are saying. That's actually how I found your blog. Cooking something. Okay, which Linux distro do I use? Okay, right now I'm on a Mac, but a few years ago I was using Linux for 3 or 4 years, like 4 years, and I was just using Ubuntu. Uh, it's simply because it's the easiest, most common, and I haven't tried others actually. By the way, my first Linux installation is in 1998. That's MK Linux. On another video, I talked about that. So I'm not a Linux newbie, and in fact, I was a Unix Solaris admin for during the 2000s for 4 years. Unix is much more complex and harder than Linux. So anyway, so which key are you using to do that? It's Mac default. No. Okay. So okay, the key to go full screen on the Mac by default is uh, Control Command F. I think. Let me try that. Control Command F. Yeah. But I just have a single key to do that. Okay. Let me. Okay. So I'm going to give you a few tips you want about the most efficient system. How you switch windows. Okay, here are a few tips. Actually, before we talk about this, you can read it, just on this URL. You can just read it off yourself. But let me talk about keyboard first. Okay, so what is the most important thing? Let me cover this. What is the most important thing to be one, the most efficient in operating your computer? Doesn't matter if it's Windows or Mac or Linux. So what is the most efficient? What do you need to do? That's what I'm gonna talk about. Um, okay, so what can you do to make using computer the most efficient? Most efficient meaning the least amount of keystrokes. Okay, scientifically, like if you run a keylog, go ahead, go and install a keylog, so you actually have the solid data when you talk about which keys you press. Most people like emacs user, they say, oh, you should put your caps lock to control, or that's the best way, or some other people say, oh, you should do this, that. That's all bullshit. First of all, install a keylog so you actually have solid data. Then count how many keystrokes you type, and also if you can count, when you do a shortcut, how many keystroke that involves. Basically, the most used command to operate your computer. You have all the commands you use in a day. Now the top 10 or 30 are the most used. Those commands, you want them to have the most easy keys. Now, so what does easy key means? For example, control, let's say control Q, compared to control K. Now, obviously, control K is easier because control K is well, let's say compared to spacebar. Okay, is control Q easier or spacebar? Obviously, spacebar because you just press. It's usually you have a big spacebar. So that tells you, that's how you measure which keys are easier, which shortcut keys are easier. So you can, you want to go all out. For example, to to measure, which key combination are better. So this can be done scientifically, and so basically, the question is, given any two shortcuts, control T versus command T, or control T versus option T F, or versus F9, just one single key, which is more efficient. F1 is just one single key, but it's a bit further, you have to move your hand. um, but anyway, so I'm kind of getting a bit lost. So I was talking about how you. So the first thing is you want to measure what are the top, most. You want to get a ranking of all the commands, the ones you use the most often. That's one thing. The other thing is you want to assign the most used command, you want to give them the most simple key. Okay. Then the third thing is how do you judge which key is simpler? Now that's a bit detailed. We can talk about later. I have a lot of articles on my site, but basically, you know, obviously Control T is better than Control Option T. Command H is better than Command Control something. And index finger keys are better than and pinky keys. Home row keys are better than uh, the keys below or the number keys. So that, I mean, that's a general idea. You can figure out the details. Again, I have like huge, hundreds of articles about all these details you can read, and also you can find out how to actually create those shortcuts on your system. So on this page, okay, so this is URL. Let me go to the other page. So just search for XR keyboard. So you go to my keyboard blog, xari.info keyboard, and you go to on the left there is a key how to. So here I tell you how to set up keys on Microsoft Windows and on Linux and on the Mac. Okay, so far we covered the problems of tiling Windows, and we covered what do you actually want to do. I mean, what is the better things to do with regards to shortcuts and commands. Okay, we covered that. The next thing I'm going to talk about is about keyboard. Okay, so the question is, let's go back up one level. So the question is, so what can you do to make your to increase your efficiency and reduce repetitive strain injury for your hands? Maybe you are young and you don't think you'll ever get into that problem. I typed on the computer keyboard for 16 years. I don't have a problem at all. I was very athletic, but after 16 years, when I was using a laptop for 2 years, exclusively laptop, I started to I feel some funny, tingling and sensations. That is in 2006, and that's when I started to use Microsoft Ergonomic keyboard. So you might think you don't have a problem. You know, Maybe you are right, but people get older. You get old, and one day, and sometimes, right now you don't have much that need for typing intensively, but if you look at data entry clerks. So what does data entry clerk mean? Those are people who type all day. Their sole job is typing. People talk and they type. They sit and type all day. Data entry, either from speech or they look at something and they have to type. Actually, that data entry clerk is not a job anymore. I mean, they are pretty much replaced by computation, by voice recognition systems. But still, if you are a writer, if you write novels, if you are a heavy blogger, or if you are a gamer in some kind of adventure, game where you have to chat a lot, like I was in Second Life. I lived in Second Life virtual world for like 4 years, and I type chat to people all day, like role playing. You have to pretend what happens. So anyway, so I'm saying one day, maybe you switch to a new job, and there's a new project, and maybe it's a startup, yeah, and your team needs to finish this, so you started to code like 60 hours a week. That is when you start to feel hand problems, and that's kind of late. I mean, it's better never than late. That is when you have problems. So you want to be prepared. You want to know what um, there are a lot of people, because I write about keyboard and hand injury. So a lot of people contact me, and it's also on Reddit and Hacker News. Like every month, there are people talking about how how they had hand pain, how they visit doctors. When that happens to you, that's kind of late. You don't want to, so you want to be prepared. And often what they say is that once you have that, it's not going to go away completely. It's kind of so anyway. So better to um, preventive. They say preventive measures is the best medicine than any medicine. So anyway, so how to increase your efficiency? So okay, so there are two things I want to say to increase your efficiency and prevent RSI. They are related. Okay, they are related. They are not exactly the same, but they are related. So so how do you do that? Now the answer involves two things. One, get a better keyboard. Two, use a efficient shortcut system. Okay. Now the efficient shortcut system we already covered previously a little bit. About how you assign commands. You want to find out which command you use most often, and how you choose shortcuts, and you want to map the shortcuts, the most easy shortcuts, to the most frequently used commands. And also, if you are using emacs, of course, if you are a emacs user, there are two things you want to do. One is use two options. One, use the evo mod. Okay, use evo mod or use soft like keys. Or, well, there's another option. Use ergo emacs mod. Okay, there are three things. Let me show you, just so you can see. You can go to the website and look after the talk. So soft like keys. So if you are Emacs user, you want to check this one out. And also the other options are, let's go down. The other options is Ergo Emacs mod. I have a link here. And the other option is Evo mod. Okay, use one of these and nothing else. Well, I mean, let me get this. This is important. You must use one of these. Okay, just nothing, not any others. One of these. Softlight keys, Evo mod, or Ergo Emacs mod. Pick one. Try them and see which one you like the most. Pick one. Then possibly, if you like, you can try. You can use other key binding add-ons. But if you want my opinion, okay, I'm giving you, I'm telling you this is the most. This is concerning about the most efficiency. I'm not talking about, I don't care what you say. I'm talking about, first of all, you have to measure how many keys you actually type. Okay, most programmers, they don't type much. Then there's data entry clerks at the other end, or similar, like the novel writers. Okay, they type 10 times more than you average programmers. You want to listen, if you are concerned about keyboard shortcuts and efficiency stuff. You want to listen the data entry clerk, the novel writers, the writers, those people, not the programmers. They give you typical garbage, like swap your control key, caps lock or whatever. So anyway, if you are Emacs user, use this one of these softlight keys, Evo mod, and Ergo Emacs mod. Now, okay, so let's go back. So I said there are two things important. One is increase efficiency in your shortcut system. The other one is keyboards. Now you might think funny, oh, what do you mean keyboard? Actually, keyboard is actually more important than the shortcut system. If you can only choose one, you should do both of them. But if you to begin with, actually get a better keyboard. Now, if you are using laptop, that's the worst. That because of the laptop, I began to have repetitive strain injuries. It's always with my left hand, starting in 2006, and since 2006, it's like every 3 years I have some kind of problem. It's new problem. It takes a month or two to find out exactly why am I having another problem. um, it's almost like every 3 years I have some kind of new problem, and every time it happens, you panic because if you are a programmer, typing is your job. If once you got repetitive strain injury, you kind of done for. It affect your career. It's pretty serious. You have to take vacations, and you come back from vacation and it's pain again. So what I'm saying, yeah. So don't if you are using normal laptop, stop that. You know, Never type on laptop more than 5 minutes. Just get be serious about it. Try not to use a laptop. Again, what I say, you may not think it's important. It also, again, depends on how much you actually type, because every people is different. Normally you don't think of other people. Like you just live, you live in a city, or you live whatever your lifestyle. You don't see other people. But maybe in fact you actually do not type that much. You are a programmer, and you go to your day job, you type maybe for a little bit, you read the doc and type, and you go to meetings, you talk to people, you eat lunch, you actually don't type that much. And to you it seems, oh, it's a great idea to swap your caps lock to control, you should do everyone should do this. But on the other hand, all those other people who writes a lot, who write documentation, programming, and who code, 60 hours a day in startups, or like me, write, 5 blogs. When those people try your method, you get paid. I mean, if you suddenly have to type the amount they type, you get paid within a month. You get, you go visit doctor. Your career is done for. So that's a thing. So just be aware that this is a lot happens to a lot of people. You can see it on Reddit or Hacker News. Just search for emacs hand pain or emacs repetitive strain injury. Not necessarily emacs. Vim people also get that. It comes up like every month now. And you can see the horror stories because it never happened to most people. Like for example, if your mom does not type much, but, it's fine. What's wrong with, why do I, there's no need for ergonomic keyboard. The laptop is perfectly fine. So it really depends on how much you really type. So if maybe you don't need to worry about things, because you don't have to actually, the actual typing is not that much. So again, remember, get a key log. Now again, I have a sorry, key log. I have a page that lists a bunch of keyboard keylog utilities. Sorry, info. Wait, not that. Okay, let's go to Xari keyboard. So you go to my blog, and you go to typing. Now this section is all about typing habits, repetitive strain injury, and there's a link on keyloggers. Let's search for it. Log. Okay, it's not here. So I got all these tips. Basically, what I'm talking about today, they are all in these articles. I'm just giving you a live presentation, because sometimes when people read articles, you don't have the context. You don't see the expression, you don't see the feedback. So video is advantages in that regard. uh, so I have an article that lists the keylog tools. Where is it? Let's see. Key binding, search for log, no, typing. key how to search for log. Okay, key logging and security. So it's keyboard shortcut and layout tutorial. Yeah, so it's in key how to, and you scroll down, you can see key logging list of key logging software. So you can try one of these. That actually log your keys, so you actually know how many keys you type. And if you are using emacs, I highly recommend get this one. If you are using emacs, get emacs key freak, because that will measure. Let me show you. For example, let's see key freak show. I have it installed, so you see. So this is my result. This is result for about 3 months or something like that. Uh, but I have also result for a year or 2 years. It's also on my site somewhere here. But anyway, so what this does is that it lists all the commands you used, all of them. So this is a command. This is another command, and they are ordered by frequency. So I use this command the most. Self insert command. What does that mean? That means just typing, like when you insert letters and symbols, just typing. So my actual typing is only 20%. So that means 75% of typing is actually shortcuts, not inserting stuff. Actually, if you are a programmer, the majority of keystrokes are not data entry. They are not inserting keys or writing stuff. They are actually like moving forward, delete words, backward, page up, switch buffers, copy and paste, things like that. So anyway, I also have a report. Let's see, emacs. Let's see, Xali emacs key frequency. Actually, command frequency. Uh, okay, this is. Oh, do you want the new one? Here is a report about different people, a bunch of people, statistics on what command they use the most. Uh, in Emacs. So these are for Emacs people. So anyway, let me go back to the. So I was talking about keyboard. Yeah, let's go back to keyboard. So I've been talking for 37 minutes. Let's another 20 minutes. We can finish it. Okay, so let's go to keyboard. So keyboard is the most important things you want to um, begin with. Okay, so what is my recommendation? What is my recommendation? So let's go to my keyboard blog. So I have two recommendations. One is get a keyboard, get a mechanical keyboard. Okay, that's the first thing. Now, if you are starting out, just do it. Just you can just do that. They are pretty cheap, like $40. You can, get $40. Don't get lower. Don't get cheaper than that. $40 is pretty cheap. Usually they are made in China. You can go to Amazon and just search for mechanical keyboard. So there are a lot of them. Like here, you can see these are pretty cheap. Like this one, $40, $40. This is more expensive, but if you are starting out, if you are young and get one of these, $50. That's all you need. Okay, so first thing, get a mechanical keyboard. Now, the other equally important thing is you want the ergonomic keyboard. So basically, you want a keyboard that's basically two sections, one for left hand, one for right hand, And also you want the tinting, like so that when you type, they are like the middle is higher. So again, I have lots of reviews. Some of these are very expensive. Usually they are like uh, most of them are above 200. Yeah, like 200, above 100. Okay, some of them are 300 something. So and this one, for example, this is 500, and this one is also $500. But anyway, if you go top, best ergonomic keyboard 2019. So I have a list, a selection. I think those are good. Again, if you are starting out, you don't have any pen, you are young, you don't want to spend, few $100s. Just get a, just begin with a uh, normal, $50 mechanical keyboard. It's $50. You can throw it away next year or 2 years after. So, but if you are adventurous, if you don't mind spending a few bucks, most programmers, you make a lot of money, so don't worry about keyboards. Then you can try, then you want to get one of these. Uh, and if you actually have hand pen, or if you actually type a lot, you absolutely must get one of these. Absolute, there's like no but maybe. No, yeah, absolutely. Either you go to see a doctor, you know uh, cripple your career, or you get one of these. So I'm not going to go into details like which one is better. I mean, most people want to know which one is the best. That actually depends. I mean, there's no one answer. Like right now, I use this one, Kinesis Advantage. Um, you can see, that's Kinesis Advantage. That's what I mean. The middle one, I use a macro keyboard as a function key. So I press this key, my whole window is enlarged. For example, I press this key. Well, it's each key does something, a shortcut. So it's one single key. There's no control option command something. Um, so anyway, back to ergonomic keyboard. So there's no one answer for everything. For example, if you need portable, and this is good, this is okay. If you really want a cheap, this is your best option, Microsoft Sculpt. That's you can buy that to begin with. So there are many choices. You can look at best 2009. Here I give some selections, and you can read about their pros and cons. If you want it portable, how much you want to spend, uh, things like that. They are all mechanical, by the way, except the Microsoft Ergonomic, which is like $80 or something, the cheapest. Okay, so that's keyboard. So let me summarize. So to increase your efficiency, and to reduce repetitive strain injury, there are two things you want to do. One is get a good keyboard, because actually keyboard is the thing you touch every day, every minute. It's it is the keyboard that actually causes pain, or all the efficiency is involved. It is the keyboard. So get a good keyboard. Two, use a efficient shortcut system. Uh, you know, and if you are using emacs, use one of Softlight Keys Evo mod, or Ergo Emacs mod. Okay, and in choosing a keyboard, if you are young, and you are a beginner, you don't have problems, you don't type that much, just get a mechanical keyboard. Just a normal mechanical $50 keyboard. Now, if you don't mind spend a bit more, or if you actually type a lot, or you already have discomfort in your arms, get one of the ergonomic keyboard. Okay, so I think that's basically I want to cover today. That's kind of like the summary of this whole thing, 100 articles. Um, so again, if you have a question, ask question. Let me mention one more thing. Let me mention one more thing for one more thing about keyboard. Okay, so another thing about keyboard is uh, programming programmable keypads. Um, yeah, I can talk a lot about keyboards. Like when you buy a keyboard, you actually want it to be programmable. I mean, so there are so many features about keyboards. I can talk about. Some of them are important. For example, I was saying, if you are a beginner, if this is your first time, you just spend $50 and get a cheap one. Like this one, optical switch is good. This one, Tomoko, is cheap and it works fine. You know, if you want a brand name, go for CM Master Key. That's from Cooler Master. It's well known. Unicom, that's the classical clicky, very loud. Some people like it. So all of these, they are also good. They have different features. Like this one is programmable. This one is on the fly programmable. So is this one, but not this one. Not happy hacking. Um, so they have different features. And by the way, I don't recommend happy hacking. I don't. Don't buy that. Period. And this is very expensive. Happy hacking is like $250, and it's the worst. It doesn't have arrow keys. It doesn't have function keys. That means every time you need to press arrow keys, you have to hold down a FN key and press another key with your pinky. So in terms of efficiency and in terms of hand comfort, happy hacking is actually the worst. And it's also $250. And it's not programmable. It's not on the fly programmable. It's the worst in so many aspects. However, happy hacking is well known in a keyboard hackers community because it has certain prestige. But anyway, it's the worst in my opinion. So yeah, so I'm talking about keyboard. Oh yeah, the other thing I want to mention is you want to get a programmable keypad. Well, first of all, your keyboard should be programmable. You want to get that. You don't get that if you spend $50. Like this one, it's not programmable. Okay, maybe it's a little bit, but it's not. Uh, um, so a programmable keyboard is very good because, for example, you want to, we talked about you want the most efficient shortcut system. Now, how do you create a shortcut? Different operating systems they have different ways, and they have tools like you can install that allows you to create shortcuts. But however, they do not work as well compared to actual programmable keyboard. They have lots of issues like sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes you need if you are in Windows and if you are running res edit, for example, the registry edit, and if that is running in root mod or privileged mod, then your keyboard, if you are using auto hotkeys, it doesn't work. Your shortcut doesn't work anymore. And also on Linux, for example, when you start Linux in the console, your shortcut doesn't work. If you are using, you know, uh, some of the Linux tools to remap keys. Same thing for the Mac. On the Mac it's a bit better. I'm running Carabiner. But anyway, but if you have a keyboard that's programmable, that's better because it sends whatever keys you programmed directly to the operating system. instead of instead of the operating instead of the operating system, do something to your keys to change it. So anyway, yeah, programmable keyboard is great. Now, once you get a programmable keyboard, the next step is, a programmable keypad is really useful. Yeah, programmable keypad. So I have some options here. Now this one is fancy. It's got screens. You don't actually need it. It's nice though. I mean, but it's not, as far as efficiency goes. You don't actually. It's not required. But anyway, I have some options. Okay, so let me go back to the. Let's see some questions you guys have. So I think that's basically covered what I want to talk about today. Comac, yeah, Comac is great. It's an alternative layout. Evo mod. I use my own custom command mod for another text editor. Yeah, that's good. I mean, uh, yeah, that's also a good point. It's James Hacking. James Haskin says avoid wrist rest. Type like a piano player. That's a good point because actually, when you type, your hand is supposed to, you should float, not, your hand should float, not resting on the uh, wrist pad. So, you can, so if you look at kinesis, it's, let's see, it's curved. If I put my hand here, you see it's curved. Let's see if you can see that. My camera is pretty lousy, so sorry about that. So you see, it's the keys are like below the rest here. So when you use this keyboard, my hand is actually uh, like my hand is not like that, but actually just like my wrist and my arm is in one straight line. So that's why they designed the keyboard that way. But when you actually type on a flat keyboard, you should not rest your hand on the rest pad. But also that depends on whether you touch type. So actually, there's a lot of details anyway about all these issues. Yes, split and ortho linear I really like. Yes, that's for more advanced people. Like when you use one of these fancy keyboards, it takes some time to learn them actually. Yeah, usually if you never used any of these, it will usually take 1 month. 1 month for you to be fluent. For this one, this Microsoft Ergonomic Sculpt, it's easy to adapt. You can get used to this one in 1 week. But for the others like the ortholinear, this one is also very easy to adapt. This ultimate hacking keyboard. But for ortholinear and yeah, so some of them actually take some time to learn. Type speed. Okay, so I guess that's the last thing I'm gonna five. So I've been talking for 53 minutes. I don't type that fast. Let's go to type speed. But what the hell, Let's just do it. Type speed. Now, if I in practice, if I now is that a particular site or is that oh, are you talking about the Linux tool? Oh, okay. Well, I'm not on Linux right now, so but anyway, let's go to Type. Let's go to a website and let's do that. I don't like right now I'm on Mac. Now that software is probably available on a Mac too, but let's just use a website. Typing. How to touch type? No, I want to typing game and typing tests. So here is a bunch of great typing tutorial websites and typing speed test site. So my average, when if I'm typing every day a lot, my average, I mean the best is usually 90 words per minute. That's about as high as I go, maybe 95, if I actually practice. I mean, if I actually really want to try to be very fast, then I practice. If I practice every day, maybe I'll get to 100. But that's about it. But also note that different websites they measure differently. So on one website you might be 70 word per minute. On another website you might be 90. They may differ. It depends a lot on the word used. Which site it is. But right now, if I try to compete, it's probably gonna be 70 or 60. So, but anyway, let's see. Let's go to one of the sites. Uh, Typing games, typing type racer. And also, if you are using a keyboard, like right now I'm using Kinesis, it's actually slower for speed typing. Enter typing res. Oh, so what? Wait, no. Ah, what? Jeez, shit. What is this? You have to type the word Italy followed by space. What? Oh, you mean I have to correct it? Ah, it shit. It. So you must be correct that um, it in China and then brought it back to Italy. Shit. 33 word per minute. That's a screw up. That's the God. I want revenge. So let's do one more. So race again. I'm just not the guy for you. What the fuck? 82 word per minute. Yay. Okay. Okay, that's it. So my normal speed is around 90, So, if I practice a few rounds, I get to 90. Um, okay, that's it. Any more questions? Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel. Donate money. Well, actually, if you enjoyed my articles about keyboard, or if you enjoyed my emacs stuff or my programming stuff, give me a few bucks. Donate. That would be helpful. So any more questions? I think that's it for today. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Yeah, I have Brew installed, but then I don't want to install that program. I don't need it. I don't. I try to not inst. I don't want to install. I try to be minimal. I don't want to install. Um, but anyway, so see you guys. Bye.